Shapiro called out Tucker, Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, Andrew Tate, Candace Owens, Daryl Cooper, Steve Bannon, and me. This was the speech. And, excuse me, you know, he thinks that he did something. And all of the National Review and Zionist and Israel worshiping conservatives, they all think that he did something. They think that was courageous. They think that was brave. And I think everybody else looks at that and says, this is a kid with Asperger's. This is a Jewish spur gout. By definition, you get the ugliest, most unlikable, most hateable, most obnoxious, despicable person. He's also the shortest. And Ben Shapiro marches up to the stage with his Israel flag in tow, with his giant yarmulke covering his head. And he gets up on his wooden crate on the podium and says, "Oy vey, you're not loving Israel enough. You don't worship Israel enough. You're a moral imbecile. You're a moral anti-Semite." And everybody under the age of 45 first goes, ugh. Hate that voice, hate that face, hate this ugly little twerp. That's the first reaction. Second reaction is, this guy doesn't belong here. And this guy doesn't belong here because this is the America First movement. And Shapiro gives this big speech. He talks about this is a question of frauds and grifters. It's about truth and authenticity. It's about courage and telling the truth. It's about none of those things. What do all of the people that Ben Shapiro called out, what do they all have in common? Bannon, Tate, me, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Tucker. What do they all have in common? They have almost nothing in common. Not ideologically, not racially, not in terms of gender, not even in terms of nationality, not in terms of religion. Excuse me. We don't even all get along. As a matter of fact, most of us don't get along. All the people that he called out. The one thing that we all have in common is that we have all criticized Israel's conduct in the war in Gaza. We have all talked about the influence of the Israel lobby. That is the one and only thing, notably, that all of those people have in common.
Hey, to be fair, okay, my only point of contention is Nick is short too. I think it's funny how he called out Ben Shapiro for being short, but Nick's very short as well. But other than that, I think Nick is right. I think a lot of people who might have used to like Ben Shapiro or supported him in the past, I think listening to him on stage, I think a lot of us just found him kind of cringe, because this isn't like being on some hater type stuff. I do, like I said in a previous video, I do believe in a lot of the stuff that Ben Shapiro does say. He does say good stuff fundamentally, but I think a lot of people just find it cringe that ever since October 7th, ever since politics and the infighting with MAGA, everything, it just seems that his priority is number one, Israel first over America. That being America first is being Israel first. It's just, he just emphasizes so much that no matter what, we got to turn a blind eye to anything that the Israeli government does, and it's Israel first. Like his loyalty to Israel is over America. And you can't be mad. And you got to see from Nick's perspective that, you know, Nick is absolutely America first.
Vivek Ramaswamy and Ben Shapiro, I think it's time for both of you to go home. This is my home, okay? I was born here. My parents were born here. My grandparents were born here. My grandparents fought in World War II. I am a Catholic. I was baptized. I was confirmed. I observe Christmas and Easter. I speak English, not as a second language, as a first language. I played baseball. I eat hot dogs. This is my country. We will allow you to live here as a guest if you respect our customs, our heritage, our traditions, our identity. We may even give citizenship to your great grandkids if they are patriotic Americans. But if you come into my country from India, from fucking Poland or Russia, where these Jews come from, if you come into my country and start telling me what it is to be an American, who is and isn't American, you come into my country and start telling me that being European and being Christian and speaking English has nothing to do with America. And someone who got their citizenship from an H-1B visa after getting a green card is just as American as someone that came on the Mayflower. You have worn out your welcome, and it is time for you to go home. That's what that means, because you do not belong here. You have no respect for this country. And here's the difference. When my ancestors got to this country from Italy, they kissed the ground when they arrived, and they learned to speak fucking English. They got rid of their Italian accents. On Thanksgiving, they ate turkey and stuffing. Their kids played baseball. They tried to assimilate because they had the bare minimum respect for the United States. They assimilated. They saw George Washington as one of their founding fathers. They assimilated into a country which, by the way, wasn't even hospitable towards them. You come here as an anchor baby. Your parents weren't even citizens. They had you. You have citizenship. And because you're such a gauche social striver, because you come from a country of gauche social strivers and fucking scammers, you have no idea how inappropriate what you're saying even is. You have no idea how impolite, how entitled, what an imposition it really is. You walk around in a suit with your fucking disgusting bare feet. You walk around with your big stupid fucking head, receding hairline, pompous and arrogant, lecturing Americans on the founding because you read a couple of books about it. Like this is your home. This is not your home. And you know it's not your home. That's why you married an Indian and you had Indian kids. You gave them Indian names. You didn't assimilate. You didn't even adopt the religion of our country. And you go around telling us that we don't even have to speak English to be American. Fuck you.
So Nick is very passionate about, this is all passion speaking right here, as he was coming very hard at Vivek right here. If you've been on Twitter and you remember a while back when the whole H-1B visa, the whole drama behind that, where Elon, Vivek, a couple other conservatives, they're very supportive of H-1B visas. Now, people like Nick and, on this side, we didn't really support it because that took away from a lot of American jobs, especially the tech industry. Elon was posed as someone who's like, oh, it's good for the country, but no, he just wanted cheap labor for his companies, X, Tesla, whatever the case may be. But you can't be mad at Nick. I agree with him. You're lying to yourself. You're not racist for saying that immigration is out of control in this country, okay? I'm all for immigration, but just doing it the right way. And someone like me that is in the tech industry, they're paying Indians and other immigrants pennies to a dollar for these tech jobs, and they're not even doing a good job on it as well. I've hired Indian people and I love Indian people. I have a friend that's Indian. I've hired some Indian people off Fiverr. They did horrible jobs on my apps that we built together and stuff like that. I do prefer American English-speaking app developers, but the whole H-1B visa, if you've been on Twitter, you remember that whole debacle over there. So that's kind of interesting as well. He was coming hard at Vivek right here, so.
Right out of the gate, Vivek says, if you're a Groyper, if you're supporting Heritage America, you're blood and soil, which has a connotation with the Nazis. But there's something else in there which is equally important, maybe more important, aside from he's clearly casting aspersions on this in that way. He says that the rise of the Heritage American ideology, he says, is a predictable response to anti-white discrimination over the last half-decade. This is maybe one of the more important things that was said the entire weekend. Because if you have paid any attention to how any of these people have been pathologizing and psychoanalyzing me and you over the past 3 months, this is a little trick that they're all doing. When they say, why is Nick Fuentes so popular? Why is his show so popular? Why does everybody like him? They're confused. They're panicking. They're saying, how is this guy who's so provocative, edgy, controversial, seems to be a racist, sexist, anti-Semite, they say, how is he getting such traction with seemingly people of all different ages, genders, races even? There's non-white people that love it. There's women and moms that love it. They're saying, why? How? And rather than look at the ideas and assume that the ideas must have merit, they say that it must be some sort of a trick. Well, it's bots. Well, it's because Charlie died. Well, and then they go further. They say it's a psychological issue. It's a pathology. They want to psychoanalyze you, the people that like the show, and me, and they say, well, this is all a reaction. Why are people watching this content? Must be because they're bitter and angry. Why are they bitter and angry? It's because the left was anti-white. Now, let me posit something. Maybe, just maybe, white people don't want to become a minority in their own fucking country, and that's a reasonable thing to want? Just a suggestion, just a theory. Maybe, just maybe, you don't need to be bitter, you don't need to be hateful, you don't need to be even cynical, you don't need to be a overzealous young person, you don't need to be a retrograde old person, you don't even need to be white. Maybe, is it possible there are people in the United States that think it is not a good idea for the country to become majority minority? For it to become majority non-white at all? Or in a few generations as it has? Is that possible? Will you even entertain the notion? Or is it all just a species of culture war malaise? Vivek Ramaswamy.
And Nick is absolutely right. Nobody truly wants to become the minority in their country. And I don't see a problem with what he's saying. I think if you just, don't get too crazy and excited over his, shock value statements. I think just if you see from his perspective and what he's trying to say, I don't even think he's wrong for saying that. Okay, he doesn't want, white people to feel like minorities in our country. There's nothing wrong with that. And he mentioned how people find him popular. Bro, I just find him very patriotic, passionate, and I'm someone who loves this country. I served in the United States Marine Corps. I have a soft spot for veterans. I love this country. I don't care what nobody says. You can never make me hate this country. And yeah, so I find Nick very entertaining, and I agree with a lot of things he says. So that's why I gravitate towards him. So, and I think a lot of people too, they just love this country and they're passionate about it. And there's a lot of fuckery going on, here and there. This administration, the previous one, stuff like that.
You. Listen, Jelly Donuts. Listen, whatever makes sense. The zoo has come to town. Okay, the zoo has come to town. And we are looking to do whatever makes sense. Listen, Jelly Donut, we are going to squeeze you from now until 2028 until we get a firm answer. Are you going to give us an immigration moratorium? And are you going to restrain Israel? And what is your relationship with Peter Thiel and Elon Musk? Those are the questions we want answered. So you can play these games and you could talk about your wife. No one really cares about your wife. No one cares about any of that. We want to know, are we getting an immigration moratorium? Will you restrain Israel? And what the fuck does Peter Thiel have on you? And what is your relationship with him and Elon? That's what we want to know. You can save the bitching about your wife. No one cares about your wife. Okay, she's pretty. She's gorgeous. Your kids look great. Whatever. No one cares. Okay, you did the tough guy shtick. You stood by your woman. Good for you. Now we want to know. And we want to know because this guy is being foisted upon us. I've never seen anything like this. Ever. First of all, this administration's not doing so hot. Let's get that straight. The war in Ukraine is still going on. The war in the Middle East is about to get started again. We don't have mass deportations. We don't have a wall. The economy's not going so great. Epstein files just came out because Congress made you release them. And yet, everyone is telling us already you got to vote for J.D. Vance. Well, time out. This administration's not going well, and he's the vice president. We're not even a year in. They already want us voting in the next one. Like, think about how crazy that is. It's not even a year in. It is 2025 still. And they're already got us thinking, oh, we got to vote in 28. 28. It's 2025. And you suck. This administration sucks. So not only do you already want us thinking about the next one, this one isn't even going well. You think we're ready for more? We're not even finished with this, and this is a pile of shit. We've been eating shit for a year. And they're ready to blow through any kind of a primary. Trump has been on the ballot 3 times. It's unprecedented in modern history that you have something like this. Trump was on the ballot in 16, 20, 24. 28 is the first Republican election since 2012 that Trump was not on the ballot. It should be wide open for us to decide where we're going to go after this. And not only are they telling us, well, you got to get ready to vote again in the next cycle, they're telling us a decision has been made already. It's Vance. Turning Point is telling us. Tucker is telling us. Elon is telling us. Everyone is already telling us Vance is the guy. No one shills J.D. Vance more than Tucker Carlson, and that's really weird. Turning Point, Erica has crowned Vance the next president. They've all crowned him next president. Who even is this guy? Before he was VP, he was a senator for 2 years. Before that, he was a never Trumper. Before that, his name wasn't even Vance. It was Hamill.
I personally just feel like J.D. Vance is forced down our throats. I personally don't like to vote for someone like that. And Nick is right. We don't know anything about the, we don't know anything about this guy's relationship with Peter Thiel. We don't know what his true motives are because he used to dislike Trump publicly, by the way. So it's just kind of like shady, a lot of people would say. I don't like the idea of Vance being our president. And I think we do need to go in a different direction in the Republican movement. So let me know what you guys think.